So most of us are well aware of the conservatorship that Britney Spears has been locked in, but little did we know that there are a few other celebrities that are also in a conservatorship. Today on the show, we will hopefully bring some of their stories to light and spread awareness on the top 5 celebrities with conservatorships you didn't know about. But first, if you could do us a big favor and please smash that like button, we would really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's begin. Coming number 5, Amanda Bynes. Much like Britney Spears, Amanda Bynes is currently under a conservatorship. Back in 2014, the Nickelodeon star spoke about her bipolar diagnosis, which simply unleashed more information about her mental health and drug addiction. Due to this, her mother was granted the right to be her conservator after it was determined that Amanda's drug use made her too unstable to make decisions. Now, because of this, she for sure is never allowed to make any decisions without first getting the consent of her guardian. However, in February of 2020, she did attempt to explain her situation and garner support to have this conservatorship removed. In the post, she said, "Today I want to talk about a controversial topic, my conservatorship case. I have been going to a treatment center that charges $5,200 a month. There's no reason why I shouldn't go to a therapist who takes my insurance for $5,000 less a month. This is why I've asked to see the judge next week regarding the conservatorship issue." Unfortunately, her pleas were not heard by the court, and thus the conservatorship was extended. Coming number 4, Joni Mitchell. On March 31st, 2015, Joni Mitchell was taken to Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center to undergo tests after collapsing in her Bel Air home. Mitchell was found unconscious at home but regained consciousness in an ambulance while headed to the hospital. Unfortunately, though, she had already suffered from an aneurysm that not only affected her speech but hindered her ability to make informed decisions. As a result, she was placed under the conservatorship of her longtime friend Leslie Morris. Leslie was appointed to provide temporary care, maintenance, and support as Joni recovers. However, in 2017, Joni Mitchell did make a rare public appearance when she attended the Clive Davis annual pre-Grammy Gala at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Los Angeles. She arrived escorted by writer and filmmaker Cameron Crowe. The now wheelchair-bound singer also was being honored with a tribute video and a performance by folk singer Judy Collins. It was a big deal, though, to see her out at an event like this after what she went through, and as far as we know, she is still under her friend's conservatorship, but this one almost makes sense. It doesn't feel as bizarre or unwelcomed as, say, Amanda Bynes and Britney Spears. Coming in number 3, Randy Meisner. Eagles bassist Randy Meisner is another celebrity that, due to a number of reasons, was placed under a conservatorship. For starters, Randy tragically lost his wife Lana in April of 2016. This terrible loss, combined with his bipolar disorder, a traumatic brain injury, and substance abuse, left Meisner in a place where he just couldn't take care of himself anymore. As a result, a judge in Los Angeles put his friend Arthur Ford and his accountant Tom DeLonge, not from Blink-182, as the temporary conservators for his medical care and estate. Although this conservatorship is not that simple. First off, following his wife's death in a gun accident, Randy Meisner asked a judge himself for a temporary conservatorship. According to CBS, the March 11th petition written by Randy said that he is barely able to accept the sudden and tragic loss of his loving wife. On top of that, Meisner's other friend Jim Newton objected to Ford and DeLonge being the appointees. Newton argued that Ford is only a friend from the music industry and therefore does not have the expertise required to care for Randy. Coming in number 2, Kasem. In 2007, Kasem was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and doctors would later discover that he also had dementia. This troubling diagnosis kicked off a decline in his ability to think properly and rationalize. As a result, the courts put him under his wife's care in 2013. That same year, though, his children filed for a temporary conservatorship when they reportedly had been prevented from seeing him by their stepmother, Jean Kasem. A temporary conservator of the person has the authority to make medical decisions for the conservatee, including appropriate placement. Concerned about their father's health, they petitioned the court to be temporary conservators, but were met with a denial. CNN published an article on it, and at the time were unable to reach the stepmother Jean for comment. A little more than 6 months later, in May of 2013, Jean Kasem abruptly removed Casey from his Santa Monica hospital, along with his surgically implanted feeding tube, and drove him to Seattle. Sadly, he died there on June 15th of 2014. Last but certainly not least, on our number 1 spot, Brian Wilson. Back in the 1960s, Dr. Eugene Landy was this popular therapist for celebrities. He had worked with big names such as Alice Cooper and the Beach Boys' Brian Wilson. As the Beach Boys began to reach new heights in the late 60s and early 70s, Brian unfortunately turned to a life of heavy drug use. In a rare appearance, he was photographed dressed only in a bathrobe as his alcohol abuse and overeating pushed his weight past 300 pounds. His first wife contacted Landy to tackle Brian's drug abuse, weight gain, and strange reclusive behavior that would see him lying in bed for days at a time. Now we just refer to it as depression, but because this celebrity therapist was underqualified, he misdiagnosed Wilson as a paranoid schizophrenic. Then he began to aggressively over-medicate him, which only caused his mental health to take an even worse turn. To make matters even worse, if it can get worse than that, Brian's relationship with Dr. Landy soon became very manipulative, with Wilson's every move being controlled by him. In May of 1990, though, Brian's relatives pleaded with the Superior Court to appoint a conservator for him, and as a result, Dr. Landy was not allowed to ever communicate with Brian Wilson ever again. Then the top 5 celebrities with conservatorships you didn't know about, but before we get out of here, I'm going to check out some of your comments from the video titled Top 10 YouTubers Who Should Quit in 2021 Part 2. Justin Graves says, ironically, Rice Gum always called people irrelevant, but now he's the relevant one. Yeah, I don't to really search for his content. It didn't really come up that easily. But love your comment, thank you. Annabelle says, just making a movie already titled Influencers, a True Pandemic. I'm sure somebody will get on that ASAP. Lady XO says, not going to lie, every time I see Johnny, my first thought is always, hey, it's Johnny. He's my absolute favorite host. Aw, thank you so much, Lady XO. I appreciate your comment. Apple Slices Unite says, what a suiting list, all deserving to be on it. Well, thank you so much. We thought so as well. Ambit Game says, Austin McBroom's hair lives up to his last name. If only he had a sponsorship from McDonald's, then it would truly be a McBroom. But either way, that has been today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube.